We're going to talk about the critical mistakes in proposal submission that teachers and educational consultants make. This will be a quick video. I hope you get a lot from it, and I hope that you are able to shift your perspective and win lots of lucrative contracts. So let's get into it. So, have you ever wondered why your well-crafted proposals are not getting the attention that they deserve? Are you tired of submitting proposals and not hearing anything back? I'm going to help you to understand that there is a critical mistake that many educators make unknowingly. Many of us were grounded in our roles as educators, and that causes us to approach the RFP or request for proposal process with a teacher mindset. But here lies the error, the critical error in this approach. So it's essential that you begin to think about what is the teacher perspective, the perspective that I'm likely looking at it from, versus an education company perspective. And so you must start operating like an education company, not as a person, not as a teacher, but as an education company, not as an educational consultant, but as an educational company, because your competitors are not fellow consultants. Your competitors are other education companies such as Discovery Education, Houghton Mifflin, and all of the other ASCDs and companies such as that are actual education companies. So stick with me. I'm going to go through a couple of things that you can do to shift your perspective so that you can then begin to win the lucrative contracts and live the life of your absolute dreams. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you is that as you think about the shift that you have to make, this is also going to allow your proposal to stand out. Right now, when they're reading your proposal, they're likely able to identify that you are a teacher or that you've been in the classroom for a long time because you're talking from the perspective of a teacher. So I want you to think about this. Just hang in there with me. Think about this. When we look at things from a teacher perspective, and tell me if you've done any of this in your proposals. First, when you're looking at it from a teacher perspective, a lot of times we're focusing on individual impact. So the emphasis on individual student outcomes and direct impact on learning experiences. So you're talking about the work that you've done, the impact on students, and the individual student outcomes. Or perhaps you are instruction centered, which means that your proposals are generally centered around instructional methods and techniques for enhancing learning, but on a small scale. So you talk about how it can work in a classroom, but not in a school or a system. So those would be considered kind of the classroom specific solutions. So you got to have ideas and solutions that are not just limited to classroom level interventions or instructions. And then as teachers, we have a lot of emotions around teaching because we've done it. And a lot of the folks in education companies, they have not been teachers. They understand elements of education, but they don't necessarily understand what it means to be a teacher teaching 20, 30, 40 kids at one time with different personalities. They don't understand the day-to-day details of the day, the bell schedule, the bathroom breaks, the lack of bathroom breaks for the teachers. And so a lot of times teachers will add that emotional appeal into their proposal writing because they are, in a sense, kind of advocating for teachers. That's also a big no-no. But wait, it's going to all make sense for you in a minute. And then the solution that you're offering may be limited as far as scalability, meaning that the solution or the proposed solution is not easily scalable beyond a classroom or two or beyond a specific type of learning environment. So maybe you've always worked in urban schools, and so this solution may work well in an urban classroom, But what about an affluent classroom or a gifted classroom or an ESL or ELL, English language learners classroom, or a SPED classroom, a special education classroom? So let me tell you what education companies are looking at when they are submitting proposals and why they are winning at a higher rate. They focus on a scalable solution. So when education companies submit proposals, they emphasize scalability and systemic solutions that can be implemented across multiple classrooms, across multiple schools, across the entire district. And then the education company is looking at it from a business perspective, and they are going to definitely center everything around the rate of return on investment. So their proposals are typically aligned with the educational solutions with so the proposals align the businesses, the big education companies, they typically will align their solution with the business goals of the school or the district, but they also focus on being cost effective and clearly clarifying what your rate of return on investment will be. Now, with teachers who are one-man show, one-person consultant, they usually are not focusing on the cost effectiveness of it. And then the big education companies are often offering a comprehensive strategy, meaning they are looking at everything from a holistic place. So they're offering holistic strategies that will address any of the concerns that students have, teachers have, administrators have, parents have. So they are taking into consideration all of the stakeholders, and they are presenting a comprehensive strategy for the entire system. And then when we look at the data piece, typically the education companies, their proposals are backed by data that focuses on measurable outcomes as well as performance metrics. And then the last piece about education companies, and I hope you all are taking notes on this, education companies often will propose innovative tech-driven solutions in an effort to help the schools be more modernized as well as enhance the learning experience. So how can you bridge this gap? Let's talk really quickly about how to bridge the gap. First of all, you need to adjust your lens. You need to adjust the lens and the perspective that you are submitting your proposals, the lens that you're writing the proposals from as well. You have to shift from a teacher to a business perspective and adopt a more strategic, data-driven, and scalable approach to education solutions for the RFP. And then you might want to consider building partnerships. When you have collaborations between teachers and education companies, they can blend the passion and the practical experiences of the educators with the scalability and the business acumen of the companies. So there are lots of other educational consultants and education companies who have been in business, not necessarily big business, but have done lots of work. And doing a few partnerships with them will help you to see how to quickly be able to win these larger contracts. So when I'm talking about contracts, I'm definitely not speaking of anything less than $20,000. Definitely nothing less than $20,000, but these contracts go up into the millions. And many of them are multi-year contracts and not just one-year contracts. So in essence, teachers' perspectives are rooted in direct educational impact, and they often have that emotional value, while the education company has a broader, and it's more focused on scalability and being measurable and cost effective, while also aligning with the strategic goals of the school. So we have to work on balancing those things and making sure that we're taking that into consideration. So if you have not already downloaded the free guide to the 5 mistakes educators make when submitting RFPs, don't miss it. I'll make sure that the link is in the comments so that you can grab that. Again, that's the free PDF on 5 mistakes educators make when submitting RFPs. And, go ahead and make the adjustment. Adopting an education company perspective can be an absolute game changer for you and your ability to win school contracts, and not just any old school contract, but big school contracts. It will allow you to broaden your horizons, be able to get into schools that you never even knew about or even knew that you could get into by just simply aligning your expertise with the strategic needs of that school. So that's it. I hope this helps. And together, let's refine our approach, win those contracts, and make a substantial impact in the educational landscape. See you next time.